discussing 9, 6, what?
Are we done with factoring after this?
Well, factoring is always in your life, so you're not always done.
Are we doing any more lessons on factoring?
No. So we're just using fact. We're going to learn a bunch of different methods,
Okay.
but this is one of the methods. Then we're going to learn 3 other methods. Okay, so before we can talk about how to solve quadratic equations by factoring, we need to talk about what's called the zero product property. All right, what words in there do you understand from zero product property?
Zero.
Zero is what?
Product.
Zero is a number, right? Product means multiplication, right?
Property.
Property is what?
Your land.
True.
Way
Yes.
of doing something.
Right, a way of doing something. Okay, so this is what the zero product property states. Write this down if you have not yet. If you have 2 numbers, we're just going to use A and B, equals 0, then it has to be true, Nick, that your A is equal to 0 or your B is equal to 0. For example, I know, but you were talking while I was talking. If we did, let's say, 5 times 0, what's that going to get us? 0. Well, what if we did 0 times 5? That still gets me 0. So isn't it true that as long as one of my 2 numbers is 0, it's always going to end up being 0? Okay. So that's what your zero product property says. For me to get a result of 0, I need one of these to be 0. Okay? They both could be 0 technically, but that gets us into some whole calculus world of it being an infinite number and blah, blah, blah. We won't go there because that gets a little out there into space. So let's just right now in our brains think that I need one of these 2 numbers to be 0 for this whole thing to equal 0. Got it? All right, so instead of a 0 and a 5, what if we turned our A and B into binomials? So write the following. Here I have a binomial times a binomial. This does not look new. We've seen this before, right? I could multiply this out and turn this into a trinomial, but I'm not because that would be silly. I'm going to leave it here in factored form. You see how this is in factored form? Okay, so what the zero product property tells us is one of these 2 things needs to equal 0.
Well, if they're both action, won't they both equal 0?
Well, we need to figure out what value of x will make one of those 2 binomials equal to 0. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to take my first binomial, which is x minus 7. I feel like I'm writing on myself. And I'm going to equal that to 0. So what value of x makes that binomial 0? 7. Right? Because if I plug in 7 for x, doesn't that get me 0 in that parenthesis? Yeah. Okay, so now let's do the same thing for the other binomial. What value of x makes that binomial 0? -2. Because when I plug that in, that gets me 0. So my solutions to this actual equation are going to be 7 or -2. I guess I could have put the -2 first, put the smallest to largest, but either works. That's the zero product property.
That's easy.
So,
Seems a little too easy.
I thought the x's had to be the same.
No, they don't. So if I plug in, let's check it. If I plug in 7 here,
Oh no, I get that. So
I get 7 minus 7, which is 0. Here I get 7 plus 2, which is 9. Isn't it true that 0 times 9 is 0? Yes. If I plug in -2 for both, -2 minus 7 is -9. -2 plus 2 is 0. Isn't it true that -9 times 0 is 0? Yes. So those are my 2 solutions.
there's always going to be 2.
So if it's quadratic, you'll always will have 2.
Okay. Do you want us to write both of them?
Yes. All right, so what would be the solutions to this one, do you think?
0.
So what's the 0? I'm going to say what's the 0, thanks, Vendela. For the first binomial. 2. So one of my answers is 2. What's this one going to be? Yeah, because don't we just set x equal to 0 and then I don't have to do anything because x is equal to 0? So my two solutions are 2 and 0. Following? Jackson, are you following this?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So now, this is where it gets good. So write the following equation down. And this is what this section is all about. This is a quadratic equation because I have an exponent of 2 on my x. For me to be able to use the zero product property, I need to turn this into a factored form, which means I need to factor this quadratic binomial. So remember, what's the first thing we always ask ourselves that you guys missed, some of you on here? What is it? Let's take out an x from that. When I take out an x, I'm left with 2x minus 11. Well, that's bad looking 11. 11 is equal to 0. It is now in factored form, which means I can use the zero product property to solve it. So my first one is x equals 0. The next one has 2x minus 11 needs to equal 0. So there we have to do a little bit of solving. So what would x be? Can you do that mentally? Add 11, divide by 2. 5.5 or 11.5, however you want to write it. 5.5. So my two solutions are 0 and 11.5, or 5.5, however you want to write your answer. So, factoring, get it to factored form. All we're now adding is using the zero product property to solve for your x. Got it?
I got it.
All right.
No, I didn't. Wait, can I do it on the board? 3?
So now we're going to do a try. You guys know how to factor this.
It hurts.
Is there a GCF?
Yes. No.
No. Okay. I can't take anything out. So now we're going to use that lovely rainbow method.
We have to do rainbow.
1 times 45 is 45.
9 and -5.
What are we going with?
-9, -5.
-9 and -5. Thank you. So it'd be x minus 9, x minus 5 is equal to 0. So now the zero product property says I'm going to take the first, set it equal to 0.
Wait, how did you get that?
How did I get what? That, you all right? Okay. So that gets us to x equals 9. Now do it for the second factor, which gets us to 5. So my two solutions are 9 and 5. No, I mean I should be doing smallest to largest if I wanted to be
Pretty
technical
much
about
once
it.
you get to that,
Yeah, I mean, you might be able to go right from here to here. You might not need to show this. By the time we get done with this chapter, you should be able to say, my 0 is 9, my 0 is 5. Right? Okay. Well, it's the 0, it's the number, right. Well, we're going to get to that vocabulary later on in life. They really are called our zeros. All right, next one. 2x squared minus x equals 66. Yes, I'm glad you just said that because I was going to bring that up. So Alexa said, wait, isn't that supposed to equal 0? Yes, it is. Because the zero product property says we need to get something to equal 0. So what do I need to do to the 66 to make it 0? That would make it 1.
Times it by 0.
If I subtract 66 from 66, that gets me to 0. But if I do it to one side, then I must do it to the other side. But then that would make everything 0. And then you'd be left with nothing.
Yeah, so then it would equal 0.
if I multiplied this side by 0, then I would need to multiply this by 0, which would give me 0 equals 0, and I can't do anything with
Which
that.
is correct.
That is a true statement.
It is a true statement, yes, but that's not what we're going with. So, we get 2x squared minus x minus 66 is equal to 0 as our new equation. So pretty much you're just moving this to the other side, which makes it change signs. Remember, it goes to the magical curtain and it changes signs. GCF. Yes or no? No. Rainbow. 2 times negative 66.
Negative 132.
Negative 132. Okay. Oh boy. Factors. Guys, we're very chatty right now. Factors of negative 132 that get us to negative 1.
Negative 12.
12 and 11?
13, 32.
Yeah. Marshall's got it. So it's going to be negative 12, positive 11. What do I do next? What else do we do to factor it? Yep, so 2x squared minus 12x minus 11, or plus 11x, minus 66. What's my next move? Factor by grouping. Group the first two together. GCF of the first two. 2x. Then I'm left with x minus 6. GCF of the last two. 11. So that gets me x minus 6. So what are my two factors?
2x plus 11, x minus 6.
Good. 2x plus 11 and x minus 6. Now let's bring down our equals 0. Can you come up with the values for x in your head? This is a positive 6. Good. What's this one going to be? Negative 5.5 or negative 11.5. Good. So if you can't get there, write it out. 2x plus 11 equals 0. Subtract your 11, divide your 2. So x is equal to a negative 11/2 and a positive 6. So the factoring is still the same. The only thing we're adding is this zero product property.
Yeah.
Yes? Can I erase that? All right. So see if you can do this one on your own. Or let's do the special cases. All right, x squared minus 12x plus 36. Let's do this one together. So I heard Zach say we're going to use negative 6 and negative 6. Guys. So that's going to factor to x minus 6 equals 0. So what's your solutions here? 6 and 6. Do you write 6 twice or do you just write it once? Once. Good. What if you have a difference of squares? Last one.
Wait, can I do it on the board? Oh, yes!
Oh, the pad, dude.
Give me that.
Remember, write small, bro.
I know, dude.
This is how if you look like this.
Oh,
then
that's
you can
so
make it
much
bigger,
better.
so it's a little bit better, you're right.
No, not zoom in all the way, bro.
Alright. Alright. I know. Oh, God. How do you erase? Oh, okay. Alright, so,
So now you gotta press that to draw again.
No, you just exited drawing. Oh,
Oh my
no.
goodness gracious. You're
Can I
done.
just try it on the board instead?
So we get.
No, Aiden just messed it up. Can I try?
I got it.
Please.
We're taking too long. 2x. What's it going to be? Minus 5, 2x plus 5. So it'd be 5/2, but it's positive and negative 5/2, right?
I don't think so.
You get positive and negative 2.5. Now, if you get something like this, does anybody know the symbol for both having a positive and negative? Have you guys seen this before? Plus, minus,
Of course I've seen that.
5/2. So if you want to save energy, if you get both a positive and a negative of the same number, you could, if you wanted to, do a plus minus 5/2. You don't want to write as much. Okay. Okay.
I got a question. Why is it 5/2?
Because to solve this equation, you would add 5 to both sides. Then you get 2x equals 5 divided by 2.
Oh yeah.
Okay.